G'day, this is Scotty Tucker from Clearwater Lakes and Ponds, here today to talk to you about the Matala rocking piston compressors. These compressors are used for a variety of aeration applications. We mainly use them for dams, for aerating large dams. They can go up to several acres in size using these types of air pumps or compressors. They're very, very good for deep water. When you get a situation where you're sort of 2 metres and below, there'll be other sort of better suited air pumps or compressors, but once you start getting into the sort of 3 metres plus up to about 12-15 metres, these compressors are what you need to be using. They're also quite useful for aerating tanks, rainwater tanks, certain wastewater applications, so they're quite a versatile air pump. How we mainly use them or supply them for aerating dams is in this weatherproof lockable cabinet. So this literally can just be dropped where the power supply is, and you can see this is a solid metal cabinet. It's got ventilation on the sides, and inside the cabinet itself is also a cooling fan, an exhaust fan. So you can see there that the cooling fan drags air across from this side, across the compressor and out through the other side, and it just gives it really good protection. These compressors do run hot, so you want to make sure that they're in a very well ventilated situation, and in this case dragging cooler air across and exhausting the hot air is the best setup. There's a little air filter there. Inside there is it's a paper element type air filter. From time to time you'll give those a bit of a clean out or a replacement, and you can see this one here is a 1/2 horsepower unit, so very, very small. They're only about the size of a small kid's football. This one has 3 outlets, and that can run 3 air stations. Pressure gauge in there as well as some electrical connections to make sure that there's only one power point going into your power supply. Now, in terms of this setup, how I said you've got 3 outlets coming off, so what we do is you run out with this hose, then you go into a weighted hose, normally into whatever diffuser you're going to use in the dam itself. There's separate videos explaining the different types of diffusers that we've done, so have a look at those. Also, what you can do, the advantage with this type of aeration system is if your power is a long way away from the water's edge, you can run these several hundreds of metres away from where the water is or where the dam is, and instead of bridging that distance with electricity or power, meaning you would have to dig down quite deep, which is quite an expensive thing to do, what we can do is we run a 1-inch line in between the cabinet to the water's edge, and then at the water's edge we then split off and go into separate lines for each individual air station. So they're quite a versatile unit, especially when you haven't got power close to the dam. Now, we also supply these in with just the compressor itself, and also with the compressor with the fittings and manifolds and air hoses coming off. And where you use that is if you have a situation where you don't necessarily need the cabinet. That might be in a very big, well ventilated pump shed, or it might be in an equipment room or something like that, where the pump's going to be well protected as well as ventilated, and you don't necessarily need the cabinet, then you may just go with the compressor on its own. But it is important to note that it must be in a very well ventilated area. In terms of maintenance, these things, it's a piston pump, so the piston's going up and down, so there are seals in there that will wear out over time, and then it's a case of just replacing the seals and piston cups with a new seal kit changeover. And again, that's something that's relatively easy to do if you're mechanically minded, or you just send it back to us, but it's not a big task to do that. And the duration of that will depend on each individual situation, how much dirt and dust and debris gets in there over time, what sort of depth it is, basically how hard the compressor is working. But generally, you're sort of a couple of years is a sort of general indication in terms of how long they need to be replaced. So really good aeration, quite small and compact, great for deeper water bodies up to several acres. You can manifold these off and have more than one compressor running, so they're a very versatile aeration system for dams and deeper water bodies.